People often ask, what did this verdict cost? It cost everything. The legal system tried to kill me.
So there you're seeing footage from One Child Left Behind, which delves into the legacy of the 2009 scandal, where over 1,000 teachers were investigated for test cheating, with 35 being indicted, 12 going to trial, and 11 being found guilty. This is a massive issue that I'm very excited to learn more about. And we're joined now on the Damage Report by Dr. Dana Evans, former principal and one of those convicted in the scandal. Dr. Evans, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful.
Glad to have you on. And so I would like to learn more about this for people who might not have been following back in 2009 when this was developing. Could you give us a brief overview of what this was all about?
So there was an investigation in Atlanta. They used the eraser analysis. McGraw-Hill did an eraser analysis of all the test scores in Georgia. And any child who had erased more than 3 times on a particular section of the test was flagged for potential cheating. There were many schools in Georgia who were found with erasers. They were disproportionately found more in high poverty schools. And there was a subsequent investigation. It was, well, I mean, that's what they call it, an investigation. I'm not sure about that terminology. And then there were certain schools that were targeted, although there were whites and blacks and all different types of people who had flagged classrooms. Only the African Americans were indicted and then subsequently jailed. So we're still fighting we're in the appeal stage now. There's one of the defendants is in jail now. Tamara Cotman, who's also in the film, another teacher just recently got out, and the rest of us are fighting for an appeal, hoping to get a fair trial in Georgia, which I very much don't think we will, but I'm still gonna fight regardless of what happens to me.
So I'm glad that you pointed out the sort of patterns and irregularities in who tended to go down for this, but let's also talk about the nature of the charges. So these were RICO charges, which I'm pretty ignorant about it, but I know that it's associated with the mob and gangsters.
Yes. Drug kingpin.
You don't appear to be a gangster.
No. I'm a bad gangster. If I'm a gangster, I really suck at it. I was actually charged with 35 years in jail. The RICO charges would have given 20 years, and then there were 3 other charges for falsification of documentation to the states. And that's basically because I was a principal and I signed off on documents saying that we follow the protocols of the state, which we did. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I think that the charges were almost a scare tactic, because when you're not a criminal, when you have never been involved in the justice system at all, like me, have never had a poor evaluation, have never been arrested, you are terrified of a system. First, you believe in it, thinking they're looking for truth and justice. And then you really quickly realize that it's not truth and justice that they're looking for at all. It is someone to blame for some reason you don't know. I now know that it was political and it was financial gain. I think that the state of Georgia wanted to redistribute the money going from Atlanta Public Schools to the control of the governor, the then Governor Deal. But yeah, it was horrifying to be charged with RICO, because RICO is for murderers and killers, and the reason I think they use RICO is because there was no concrete evidence against us. There were no emails, no videos, there was not even a person who testified that I told them to cheat or I cheated. And so all you have to do really with RICO is connect people together. So loosely they defined in court that we didn't have to be a part of the crime. We didn't have to know about the crime, but we had to be a member of the criminal enterprise. And they defined Atlanta Public Schools as a criminal enterprise. Wow. Because bonus money was given to people for academic gains. But I want to say this about our bonus money. There were 12 people who were indicted. Out of the 12 people, the total amount was $3,500 in bonus money for 4 years. Not $3,500 each year, not $3,500 a person, collectively for everyone, $3,500 for 4 years. And that became a RICO charge.
Wow.
Dr. Evans, I just want to be clear just for our viewers, but are you saying no cheating happened?
No, I'm not saying no cheating happened. I'm saying that for me and the people who, I'll just speak for myself.
Okay.
There were no witnesses that said I cheated, nor told any of my teachers to cheat. That I was charged with basically knew or should have known cheating happened at my school because I was a principal. No, there were people who testified in court that they cheated on the test. And there were, so there were 3,500 people in the Atlanta Public School District. There were 178 that during the investigation that they found had something to do with cheating, which I think the numbers are off, obviously, because I'm included in that number. And that's 5% of, and I want to say too, cheating is wrong. And I mean, it skews numbers so much that you can't even tell if you're successful or not. There's no reason to cheat because the children were capable of passing the test. I always believed in the kids, and I believed in our collective ability as a staff to galvanize the children to be able to help them to achieve at high levels. And so there was no room for cheaters. But people get, when you're not anchored to something, you can do all kinds of things. So no, I'm not saying that no one cheated. They did, and I am adamantly saying that it's wrong.
And Dr. Evans, thank you so much for clarifying that. Now, this was a national scandal that drew like a lot of attention all across the country to Atlanta Public Schools, a school system that a lot of people, unfortunately, even in Georgia, ignore. And I want to know, back to the film itself, what do you think people are going to take away from this? What are people going to learn? Because I think fairly a lot of people think they know a lot about what happened.
I think the takeaway is that there's a disproportionality in the way that certain groups of people are treated and criminalized in our society. There's a whole rebranding. Not talking about myself, but I have a PhD. I have pretty much A's. I've never had any ethical violations. I've been promoted, but there was a whole rebranding of me in this whole process that diminished everything that we were as a people. And so as a person and as a people, I think that I want people to take away that what you see in the media, what mainstream media shows you, there is often little truth to it. And it isn't just words that we cavalierly say, but it destroys people's lives and it destroys what really could be good in society. So I think one thing is to be careful to wake up. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are already watching your show who are already woke, but to wake up and be a part of the process to change things that are wrong, not for just other people that you see, but this could impact you too. Because I never thought in a million years that I could be charged with a crime and convicted of something I didn't do in a society that is supposed to be justice for all, which is really a joke. The third thing is that we are still fighting for justice, and in any way that people can help, we would appreciate it. We're going to the appellate court probably in a year or so, and I'll, maybe hopefully come back when it's time for us to go to court, and people can come maybe even to the courthouse, or I'm not sure how people can help, but in some way where you are, I firmly believe do something where you are. And if it doesn't even impact me in this case, but it impacts something that has to do with the justice system or something that has to do with schools or something that has to do with creating a better world for everybody, not just select groups, do it now.
Well, Dr. Evans, you've suffered a horrible injustice. Feel free to reach out to us if there's anything we can do as your legal struggle continues. But we appreciate you joining us and putting a human face to this scandal and the tragedy behind it, the injustice behind it. Everyone watching this, I hope that you watch the documentary. But again, Dr. Evans, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.